Hey guys, so today I'm excited to be here with Matthew. Our intention for this interview, well certainly my intention, which is now your intention too, is to inspire the audience to show them that you can change your life anytime you choose to. The great thing about Matthew, and the reason I'm interviewing him today, is because he's a man who has changed his life. And we're going to explore that today, and I really am excited to share Matthew's story. So Matthew, you were working in your workplace for 25 years in a factory, and you moved away from that and are now doing, spiritual teachings like breath work and what's it called?
Doing sound healing.
And so was it sweat?
Yeah, the sweat lodges.
Sweat lodges, which is so exciting. I have to ask you about that. And so tell us about that journey. Tell us about your work, first of all. What were you doing? And what made you stay for 25 years? Because that's a long time.
That's a long time, yeah. I got the job in the factory. It was a glass bottle making factory. So we were making beer bottles and jam jars and all the commercial stuff. It was shift work, so I was doing 12-hour days and 2 12-hour nights.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was noisy and it was loud and it was hot. And, I mean, you can imagine, glass machines pumping out 300 beer bottles a minute.
Wow, that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went into that job around the same time, just before I got married.
Yeah.
And had kids, and it paid well. And at that time, I didn't mind the shift work because I'd get, days off during the week, and it was instead of a 9 to 5 sort of job.
Yep.
But and it paid well, and it wasn't, wasn't that hard work. It was quite repetitive. And then over the years, it was just I stayed there to support my family, and I thought it was the right thing to do, to be in a job that. But there was always that feeling like, there's got to be more to life than paying bills.
Yeah.
Repeating day in, day out the same thing.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Being in that environment and doing the shift work, and it started taking a toll on
so what did that,
my health.
Yeah, what did that look like? So tell us a bit about that, because, people fear change often, but sometimes staying the same can be equally detrimental.
Yeah, well, staying the same it's certainty. You show up and you've been doing the job for so long, it's automatic what you have to do.
Yeah.
And you know that you're going to get this, the pay at the end of the week, and it's certainty and it's security and it's comfort. So.
Yeah, but how did that, so eventually it's the certainty turns on you, doesn't it? So what happened with you, your mental health and your physical health?
Yeah, well then, I was getting to the point where, on the way home from work, I'd stop and buy a can of rum and
you bought a can of rum.
I have a can of rum, instead of a bottle, yeah.
You didn't want a bottle.
But that was a can, that was a can of rum, and then there'll be a bottle of beer at home, And so, and that was to sort of just numb myself out. Yeah.
Yeah, so it took you one can or one bottle to numb yourself out. That's kind of, I giggle because I was expecting, I'd get a bottle of rum, but you just got a can.
A can of rum, yeah. And then excessive drinking, and, eventually my marriage fell apart. And around that time, I was like, I've got to sort myself out and start looking at improving myself and getting myself back on track. So
amazing.
So I was still in the job doing that, but I went to a teepee ceremony.
A teepee
ceremony. So that's based on. You imagine the teepee from the American Indians?
Oh, okay.
So it was
no, I'm imagining a teapot.
No,
like
teepee.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. But now that you say that, it's that little tent.
Yeah, the tent.
Yeah.
And they had an elder come out from the States to give some teachings, and in a teepee ceremony you sit up all night around the fire in the teepee.
Yeah.
And they give teachings and you sing songs, and there's a bit of plant medicine.
So let me stop you there for a second. How did you go from working 25 years in shift work in a factory to a teepee?
A teepee ceremony.
So like fill in that gap.
Yeah, right. So
because that seems like chalk and cheese,
bit of a
right?
jump. Yeah. I was always interested in alternative ways of living and alternative things. Like the guys at work, they're very blue collar, and even like I'd have my beer on the weekend and things like that, but I was always looking into alternative things and going down different rabbit holes and.
Oh, so that was already part of your life. So they looking for alternative medicines and different things like
not
that.
so much like it interested me in different philosophies and things. Like I'd eat pretty healthy at work and exercise, and the guys, they'd always call me the weird hippie and things like that at work. But
I can see that. Yeah, that would happen.
But when I separated from my wife, and then I thought, I had another friend that was working there, and he was interested in music festivals, like alternative music festivals. And I thought, all right, I'm separated from my wife. I want to go out and have a good time. So we went to a music festival, one of these, like, I don't know if you heard of Dragon Dreaming, a thing where it's
yeah, I have.
Psychedelic music and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, like is it ecstatic dancing?
Yeah, And we went to this festival, and there was like you're camping out for the weekend, and there was some young people camping next to us, and like every time we looked over, they're having some other alternative, like some psychedelic drug, and it was like, what the hell are they doing, And they were talking about things, I was like ayahuasca and rape and cambo, and I don't know if you heard of all these.
Yeah. No, I haven't heard of rape and cambo, but ayahuasca for sure.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, it's like, what is all this stuff, What are they talking about? And so after that, I started looking into that. And it's interesting because once, you start changing your focus, the universe seems to bring these things into your field.
100%.
And then a week after I was talking to these people at the festival, I ran into someone and they're saying, I'm going off to an ayahuasca ceremony this weekend. I'm like, oh, okay, well, and things kept popping up. Like
wow.
That, I say, okay, we'll start looking and diving into that. And then I saw Tara. She wasn't I didn't know her at the time, my partner, and she was doing
who I just interviewed, by the way, guys. Yeah.
She was.
That's how Matthew got to sit in this chair.
She was doing a rape ceremony, which is a tobacco snuff from the Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, where they blow it up your nose and it clears your head and brings you back into your body, and it's
wow,
it's quite intense, but
sounds intense.
It's beautiful medicine. So I went along to this ceremony and to experience that. I was curious about what it was. Yeah, I thought, I want to know more about this. So I contacted Tara and said, I'd like to know more about this rape and where it comes from, and she put me into contact with a friend of hers that was serving it. So I went and chatted to him, and he was doing a vision quest. He was getting ready for a vision quest.
What's a vision
quest?
So
vision quest is where you go out, you go out into the bush, and they give you about a 3 meter square space, and you sit in that for 3 days and 3 nights with no food or water. And all you can take out, you can't take anything except the clothes on your body and the blanket and the towel.
So no food or water for 3 days.
4 days and 4 nights.
No water.
No.
Wow.
No food or water. Yeah. There's many traditions throughout the world where they do similar things.
Yes.
This one is based on the American Indian ones, and it was originally it's an initiation
thing, yeah.
For young boys for coming into manhood. They put them out into the bush, into nature by themselves.
Yeah.
And then they pray for a vision for their life. And then when they come back out, they say, well, this is the vision I got. And then they have their role.
So did you do that to get a vision for your life, or did you do that to just experiment with what it is?
Well, I'd heard about vision quests throughout my life, and it sort of thought, oh, that's something that, and I like doing things where I was testing myself. So I'd like doing endurance, going doing long runs in the bush, or big long bike rides and testing myself. And in our culture, there's no initiation for young men.
No.
It's like go to school.
Alcohol is the initiation.
Get drunk, and that was mine. It's like get drunk as much as you can on the weekends, get a job and get married and pay your taxes, sort of.
Yeah.
And you get disassociated from yourself and who you are, and you follow this path that isn't in alignment with who you are.
I want to explore those things you mentioned a little bit more. I'm just interested in, so were you still working at the factory as you were exploring all of these different
Yeah, so I was still working at the factory. And then, this friend of the guy that was doing the Harpay, that was doing the Vision Quest, he put me in contact with the community that he was doing that with. And so, I gave them a call and I said, I'm interested. I'd like to come and have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that community, you support for a year. So they put the people out on the hill. There's usually 12 to 20 people they put out in the bush, but there's also the same amount of people back in the support camp.
Okay.
So the people in the support camp are eating and drinking for the people on the hill.
Oh, I love it. I will be the support group.
I'll support, yeah. So we prepare everything, and before you go out on the hill, you do a sweat lodge.
Okay.
They call it an inipi. You build a dome structure out of saplings, and then you cover it with blankets and tarps. So it's pitch black inside, and there's a pit in the middle of it. And you build a big fire, and you put all the stones in it. There's usually 28 stones, and you bring the stones into the lodge and close the door and pour hot water on.
It's like a sauna.
It's like a sauna, but it's pitch black, and it's way more intense than a sauna.
Sounds intense.
Like you think you're going to, like this, you're in there and you think, oh, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
No one ever dies, it's about finding your edge, and purifying. And the morning you go out on the hill, you do a sweat lodge. And then when you come out of that sweat lodge, you can't talk to anyone and you can't eat or drink until you've come back off the hill and you've gone back through the sweat lodge again. So the supporters, they do a sweat lodge every morning and every night while you're out on the hill. In case someone does come back, there's a sweat lodge for them to go through.
Okay.
So then they can talk. Like you got to go through the sweat lodge when you come back.
Okay. Wow.
So the supporters do one like twice a day, just in case someone does come back early.
Okay.
Otherwise, they'd have to sit there and wait, for everyone else to come back. Yeah.
So fascinating.
So it was a lot. And the first year I supported, it rained the whole week.
Okay.
We were building these fires and having sweat lodges twice a day, and the people out on the hill were, a lot of them came back early because they were just drenched.
Drenched. Yeah.
Drenched. But it was and then the day they come back, that night we do a teepee ceremony, and you're sitting around the fire all night in the teepee and singing songs and
amazing.
But it was like, this is like I can remember being in that supporters camp and chopping the wood and looking after the fire. And it's like, felt like I'd come home.
Yeah, wow.
It's like, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. So I started working with that. They call it the Red Road. Okay. And the Red Road is like, because of the blood in your body.
Okay.
That's the Red Road. So
that's interesting.
I started working with that community, doing the sweat lodges.
I love that. It's so still working at the factory and then doing these amazing things make it easier to work at the factory, or was it a real catalyst for you to say, the more I'm doing all this work of myself and in community, does that sort of encourage you more and more to leave that role?
Yeah, there was more. I found it more difficult to go to work because it was like there's more out there for me to do.
Yeah.
And the job, they changed owners. It was always the same job. In the 25 years I worked there were 4 different companies that owned it. And the job was always the same. Okay. They just changed the badge on your uniform. But the last owners that came in, it's like the amount of surveillance that came in, and that was just became very oppressive. Okay. They wanted to know exactly what you were doing, where you were at all times, and it's like
you feel like you're being watched and not trusted. Right?
Yeah.
It's a bad.
It was just like you're just here as a number, a robot. You couldn't do anything without someone looking over your shoulder.
Oh, it's a terrible way to work, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when did you get to that moment where you were like, the factory work is no more for me, it's not for me anymore, and you took that leap? When do you remember a moment, or what led up to that decision for you?
I guess I had the opportunity redundancy came, like they were making people redundant. And like, I was just like, yep, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I never, like, that's the thing too. I never working in that environment for so long. And also after I found out, like, since I've left and started working within myself, like the limiting beliefs I had about myself of what I could achieve. Like, I thought I was just good enough just to show up and do a factory job,
Yeah.
you know, and take orders in it. And it's like, until you stop and start looking at the patterns and programs that run you in the subconscious of why you're doing things. And it's like, there were times I'd be there and it's like, I'm doing this job because I came to the realization this is the standards I set for myself, you know? And if I want to be more and get out of here, I've got to set higher standards for myself. So, you know, it's like people would be in there and they'd be angry with the management and, you know, with the company and with the government. It's like, you can't be...
You can't hold someone else responsible.
You can't hold someone else responsible. It's like, okay, it's like, I've got to take responsibility for my life and accountability for myself. So,
you know, I love that you raise this because, you know, Matthew, I love that you raise this because, and I think particularly for men, and I've certainly experienced this in my own relationships, is that, you know, as men are raised to be providers and protectors.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember when my husband at the time was made redundant for one role and he was in management. And I said to him, you've got all these transferable skills and you can do so many things. But he was so, his perception of himself is like, I can only do this. This is what I can do, right?
Yeah.
This one thing. And no matter how many times I showed him what else was possible, he just wasn't ready to see it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's so funny because, you know, sometimes we're so quick to judge. Like, what do you mean you sat on a factory job for 25 years? But sometimes you just don't see anything beyond that.
Anything beyond, yeah.
You only see your own reality. Yeah. And as you say, your belief system is your reality.
Yeah.
So when you only feel good enough and worthy enough to do that, those opportunities don't come because you don't see them. And even if they were knocking at your door, you don't believe that they're for you, right? And they dissipate. And I think this is so important to articulate because it's easy to say to people, you know, in the positive thinking space, just think positively and, you know, your life will be amazing. But first you need to believe that you're worthy of a different life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you've got to go into your subconscious because, you know, you've got your conscious thinking, which is your day-to-day life. But the subconscious is 90% of who you are. It's like the operating system in the background that's, you know, the patterns you're following in life and the beliefs, though they're in the subconscious, and unless you can go in there and unpick them, and you've got to unravel them and look back where they started from too, you know. And usually, you know, I don't know if you heard the saying, give me a boy for 7 years, the first 7 years of his life, and I'll give you the man.
Yeah.
You know, and all that programming that you get when you're younger.
Yeah.
And you create these patterns you follow and these beliefs and then before you know it, you're just following this path that...
Yeah, and sometimes it takes an event like a separation or a breakup to wake you up and go, hang on, this is not right anymore.
This isn't good for me, yeah. So, and I always knew I wanted to get out of that job, but I couldn't put my finger on what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if I leave here, like the safety's here and I know I get good money and, you know, that I hate the job, you know.
Yeah.
People here aren't inspiring me, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I didn't know what I was going to do.
And I think that's, again, you've hit the nail on the head. Like people go, I know I want to do something else, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
And it's hard to make that jump if you don't know where you're jumping to.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes people go, just take anything else. But exactly, because that's how our mind works.
Yeah.
If you don't give it something else to focus on, it will just always revert back to what it knows, right?
Yeah.
So doing all this work, the self-work, did you get some more clarity around where you wanted to go?
With the Red Road work, it's a lot about being in service, you know, so you're showing up and you're being in service to the community and you're being in service, you know, to the ceremonies, like showing up. And I'd go out there like a week before we had a sweat lodge or a ceremony on and, you know, chop the wood and get all the wood prepared and have everything set up. And it was like, okay, so if I want to find who I am, and I heard a great saying, I think it's from Gandhi.
Okay.
It's like, if you want to find yourself, lose yourself in the service of others, So it's okay. So I started putting myself in more service roles in the community and taking on more leadership roles, which was something, that I wasn't comfortable with. So, yeah, I was doing that I can remember that teepee ceremony, the first one I sat in, and people are sitting there like singing songs and having a great time all night, and I just wanted to get out of there. I just felt terrible all night.
Oh,
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I was sitting, I was like, okay, I want to be like that guy over there. But I was driving home the next day, and I was like, oh, I've got some work to do, like some sort of inner work that I have to do,
But he inspired you.
Yeah.
Like seeing him inspired you to be like.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, if they can do it, like I can be like that as well. So what do I have to do to, turn my life around?
And, and so what did you do? Did you just continue to be in service?
Yeah, so I continued doing the work and doing the vision quests and working with the community with the Red Road. And then around that time with COVID, Tara was living, we were in the same locality, how we were all locked down and couldn't. And Tara, she started
stalking you. No,
not she.
Not quite.
She had been doing a thing called, it's on the Red Road Path too, but it's called the Moon Dance. So, and that is where women dance under the full moon for 4 nights. And she'd been doing that, and with that work, she had got the blessings to start pouring sweat lodges as well.
Okay.
Because in these traditions, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to start pouring sweat lodges." You've got to initiate. You've got to initiate and get the blessings from the elders before you can do it. And she had the blessing to pour sweat lodges. So she needed someone to help her build a lodge and work the fire for her. And she knew I'd been doing that work, so she rang me up and said, "Oh, do you want to start working this fire, helping me out?" And she lived 20 minutes down the road from me in the mountains, so I started helping her out. Yeah, and then it was more of a working relationship. She said, "I'm doing a sweat lodge this weekend." I said, "Yep, no worries. I'll come and cut the wood. I'll work the fire, and there's your stones. Nice to
nice
to see you next time." Yeah. And then in COVID, when everything was shut down, she had a calling to do a lodge, but she couldn't get anyone to come because no one could travel. But I lived up the road, so she goes, "Well, can I do a lodge? It's just going to be you and me." And what was going on? She's from Canada, and it came out of the news about all the children that have been found, like dead bodies. They found them at government schools. Oh. They'd taken all the Indigenous children. This is going back in the 1800s.
Oh, thank goodness. I was like,
early 1900s. So take them all out of their communities and put them in these government schools. And they found out that, they'd all been tortured and tortured and murdered. And they found like mass graves of these children.
Gosh.
So Tara, she goes, "Oh, something big's probably going to happen in this lodge. You're going to have to hold space for me." Well, okay, yeah, no worries, I can do that. So it was just the two of us doing the sweat lodge, and she was going through a process, and we came out of that, and I had to hold space for her and do a couple of things for her that, she was lying on the ground and whatever energies were coming through for her. So I just sat there and held space, and then after that lodge, it was the relationship changed between us, and we sort of
with it, eh?
Got more of the intimate relationship. Yeah.
Like it.
Here we are. And it's like, okay, so, this like the spirit was like, whatever you want to call it, the universe, it guides you in these ways and in these paths. And, like I went to that harpe ceremony and met Tara there. And then she put me on this, gave me this contact for the Red Road, and I learned how to work the fire, and then came back, and next thing I'm helping Tara, and we're in a relationship, and and you've met Tara, so I
know, she's a spicy lady.
She is.
I like it.
And she really pushed me to okay, it's like you're in this job, but you've got skills and gifts. You've got to start stepping forward into your leadership and into your manhood and masculinity. And she really pushed me to
to take that
to come forward. Yeah. And so the redundancy came up, and I was like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do, but here's my opportunity to get out of this, leave this job. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Coming back to the masculine and feminine energies, and Tara and I spoke about this, and that's we all have masculine and feminine energies, but within a relationship, there is that masculine and feminine. And I remember my spiritual teacher, Sadhguru, saying the masculine, the man, needs the feminine, right? More than the feminine needs the masculine. Just purely because we as women are there going, you can do it. Like, we do push, and we bolster, and we say, you've got this. We see the potential in you. Just you need to see it within yourself. And I love hearing that, because that reciprocal energy, that really works. That's what makes relationship. Where the man, you spoke about holding space in the sweat lodge, but that still, I think, for me, translates into all parts of life, where the man holds space for the woman to be the woman, and the woman holds space for the man to be the man.
Yeah.
And it's just so nice to hear that really helped you. That energy really helped you, that feminine energy. And what I really love about your story too is that the world just opened up for you because you were willing.
Yeah.
Because you were willing. So how old were you when you then stepped away from the factory job?
That was just over a year ago. So
how old were you a year ago?
Well, I'm 50. I'm 56 now.
Yeah. So you're about 55?
Yeah. 55. So.
And the reason I ask that, because often this is the stage where people are like, I better hold on to my jobs because of retirement, and there's all that status, I couldn't possibly start again. There's all that fear that's around there. But I always say, imagine you hadn't moved. I mean, because I really want for the audience, because it all sounds amazing, but I'm sure there were some challenges and stumbling blocks along the way.
In the last year? Or?
Well, just in the whole process, you literally had to change your identity to become a new person.
Yeah.
So what were the challenges in doing that?
It was going within and facing myself. Like when I left the job, and it's like, okay, I want to create my own life and take responsibility for myself, and I need to surround myself with, good mentors and other people that have done it before me, Started paying for mentors and getting mentors and people that, were, I thought, at a higher level than what I am, and start learning from them.
So you actually invested in people that would help you.
Yeah.
Did you ever freak out and go, shit, there's no income coming in? Or you were okay with the redundancy?
I was okay with the redundancy.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I've got this little buffer I can work with. So, but, it's not, we want to buy our own property and hold, ceremonies on our own property. So it's like, all right, so so I started doing things and getting out onto social media, and from being in a factory for 25 years and maybe doing 4 posts, on social media in 25 years.
How was that for you?
And then having to do it every day, and talk and learning how to talk to a camera was like, it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like if someone had said to me this time last year that you're going to be on a podcast, it's like, there's no chance, no chance I can
do that.
Talk to that, yeah.
I love that, and it's so exciting. Are you proud of your progress? Are you surprised at it? Are you how do you feel? Because a year is not a long time.
It's not a long time, no.
By the sounds of it, you've changed significantly.
Yeah.
And what you're doing, your life is so different to what it was. How do you feel about that?
It excites me. Like every morning, I'm like, let's get going. The day is like, before it's like, oh shit, got to go to work today.
Yeah.
Like now it's like, okay, what am I doing? What adventures am I going to have today? It's like I've got control over my life. I'm not where I want to be yet, financially, but it's like, that's not what it's all about. It's like, okay, just keep doing the steps and improving a little bit each day and refining myself. And
like anything, it's a process, right? It's a process, knowing what you want to create and then working towards that.
And working towards it and being really clear on what it is you want to create. And then it's like, we're the creators of our reality, but we're not taught that.
No.
We're told, follow the rules, do what you're told, and pay your taxes and retire. And it's like, a lot of people, it's like, they know deep within that it's like, that's not right. It's not, you just do a job just to get by.
So it's always to pay the bills, isn't it?
Pay the bills,
That's often what people say. How will I pay the bills?
Yeah.
But surely there must be more to life than paying the bills.
Pay the bills, yeah. And before you know it, like, it's not a long time that we're here.
No. And then, as you said, 25 years later, you're still at the factory. You're like, what happened? Where did that time go?
And I'd kick myself too. It's like, why did it take me so long? But you got to learn not to be hard on yourself either. It's like, no, everything happens, at the right time for your progress and your evolution. So
yeah, I've had that too, because I always say to myself and to everyone else, hindsight is always 2020.
Yeah.
Always. Because I'm looking back at my life as the person I am now, but I wasn't that person then. So it's pointless looking back and feeling angry at myself in the should have, could have, would have phase, you know. It's just like, it was what it was. And I made the best decision for myself at the time that I thought was good, right? Because from my perspective and my reality. So I have to self-talk myself into that sometimes, because like you, I'm like, Jesus, man, why didn't I pull it together sooner?
Sooner, yeah.
Yeah. So there's someone at home, and I'm thinking particularly for men, because I think women, we have, again, I'm generalizing, so, I mean, this may not always be the case, but because we do have people around us and we have community often, but men sometimes don't have that.
Yeah.
And so what would you say to a man, irrespective of where they're working, what level they're in, but they sort of stuck and they may be in their 50s and they can feel there's more to life than what they're living, but they're so scared to step away from that? What would be the first step for them to do?
Probably find other men you can talk to that want to do the same thing. Like, there's lots of men's groups popping up now, and start talking to other men and expressing what's going on for you in your life. Because, in that factory environment, it's like if you spoke about your emotions and your feelings, it was like,
I can imagine.
It's like, just go to the pub, get drunk, and let's not talk about it. And it's good to have a supportive group of other men where you can talk to. And that's what I'm starting to build now, is like getting other men in and just talking about what's going on in your life and showing that there's other possibilities, and expressing, like, getting to the deep core issues and your beliefs and changing that around.
I love that. And you're right, because a couple of my friends, they've started men's group or men's meditation groups, and even if it's just going for a walk once a week, and the irony of that sometimes is often the women, the partners, drop their men off.
Drop them off.
And go, you're going. It's not even an option, because it's still not the done thing, you know. But and just allowing a space to just share what you're sharing, to normalize what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just implode, right?
Yeah. You just bottle it down and you end up drinking and numbing yourself out and, watching sport and TV on the weekends. And it's like, and start, like, when I was still in the job, I started, like, reading, books on, personal development and listening to lots of podcasts. Instead of going into the canteen at lunchtime and talking about the footy and, bitching about people, I'd go outside and put the headphones on and listen to different podcasts and, about self-development, mindset, and, just start working on your mindset and how you talk to yourself, and, because your thoughts create your reality.
Yes.
And it's like, well, what are you thinking about most of the day, and where are your thoughts? And it's like having that control over your thinking and what you're thinking about. It's so important, changing that mindset.
Yeah, I love that. And so what you're really saying is start doing the self-work.
Yeah.
So instead of looking externally, start looking internally. And I was even speaking to a friend of mine this morning, and I said, sometimes the question, she had just broken up with a guy.
Yeah.
And she went away and it came back. And of course, it goes for a walk, and the first person she runs into is her ex.
Okay, yeah.
And she's like, oh, but he blocked me from everything. And she was really upset about it. And I said, well, it's really your problem.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that he blocked you is not a problem, but your response to that is a problem.
Yeah.
The invitation is to ask yourself why this is a problem for you.
Yeah.
Like, and I said, the invitation is always here.
Yeah.
And so it is. And I said, the question is always, why am I not living the life that I want to live?
Yeah.
And why am I not get the relationship I want? Because it's all possible for us. No one's stopping us but us.
Yeah.
But the challenge often is looking at ourselves. But what I love about what you're saying to me is community.
Yeah.
Like, surround yourself with the support.
Yeah.
Because, there's so many podcasts and things you can listen to. How did you find having that support to actually make that transformation was useful?
Yeah, absolutely. And being in the community that pushes you to start taking leadership and ownership of your life. Like the Red Road, it's like, you've got to take responsibility for your life and how you're showing up, and you're showing up with integrity and humility and, showing up with courage. And there's so many, like, it's about changing your mindset and start having the belief in yourself. And
I love that.
It's a process. Like, a lot of people, like, we've done plant medicines, and people think, oh, I'll go and drink plant medicine and you're all healed.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's like you do that gives you some homework to do, and then you go out and you put that in practice. And
I watched this documentary on ayahuasca, and it's become such a big thing, you go do ayahuasca, and they were following people, and this guy was like, well, I expected to do it and then all my problems would disappear. And he says they haven't, and I've keep doing it, but they don't disappear. And I'm like, but they obviously, something comes up, and as you said, then the invitation is to explore that, heal that, move that, and then carry on from there. So it's not a quick fix solution. Right?
It's just going to show you where you can improve in your life and what you need to work on. And it's a tricky thing too, because the ego can get in there as well when you're on those medicines.
Oh, really?
And it's like, well, is that my higher self speaking to me, or is that my ego?
Yeah.
And so and then you got to discern between that, and then go and do the work and start improving. Yeah.
I love that. It's so exciting. And so tell me about the work that you're starting to do now. So give us a bit more of a synopsis on what you're creating.
So when I left, I was like, that job, I was like, what am I going to do? And then an opportunity for a network marketing business popped up.
Yeah.
So I say, okay, that looks, that makes sense. The compensation plan looks good.
Yeah.
And I read a book by Robert Kiyosaki, and he wrote a book, Business of the 21st Century. And it was about network marketing. And he's like,
they are all huge. Tony Robbins, all of those guys have made it massive in those industries.
Robert Kiyosaki doesn't do network marketing, but he goes, he promotes it because it's like a way for people to create wealth. And I
think they call it affiliate marketing.
Affiliate marketing.
Yes, network marketing, because there used to be pyramid schemes. Yeah. And then I think that became illegal. So they
so people, and that's the thing, that's one of the big objections. People go, oh, there's a pyramid scheme. And it's like, no, actually pyramid schemes are illegal, and it's been around for 50 years. And it's like, I look at the job that I was doing, in the factory, and it's like, that's a pyramid scheme. The guys at the bottom are doing all the work, and the guy at the top, he's out on his yacht, And I'm like, that's a classic pyramid scheme. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So you started that. So you invested in that business.
I invested in that business, and that was great because it started teaching me a lot of skills like marketing and sales and using social media to gain a following, and it was a big learning curve.
Yeah.
For me, it was like some days it was just like doing my head in. So especially coming out of the factory, and then I started. I was like, oh, this is how my brain works. Like,
I love
you know what I mean? Like, for 25 years, all I had to do was show up, be a robot, do my job,
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, now I've got to put all these processes and things and structures in place for my life. And it's like, it's like, oh, geez,
Wow.
I'm actually just,
I've got a brain. It's amazing.
I've got a brain, and it's sort of, it's a bit weird.
It works.
It works. It works in a funny way. It's not, so it was, so I did that, and then throughout the journey, I'd done in the process over the last few years some breath work as well as a modality to access my subconscious and bring up memories and things. And sitting in that, I was like, oh, this is something that I could, I'd like to explore more.
Yeah.
So I did a course on that to become a breathwork facilitator, and also with sound healing. There's a Nepalese guy in the mountains, and he, I went and did one-on-one with him. He laid me on his bed, and he used these Tibetan bowls.
It's amazing.
And the place, like, I woke up from that, I was like, what was that? That was just sound,
Vibration.
But it was like the vibration just took me. It's like, okay, you got to teach me that. I don't know more about that.
I love, what I love about your journey and you is you're so eager to explore, and you're so eager just to follow what's the path that's been shown to you.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, that was powerful. I love this. Let me learn more. Let me engage. And so you really have a growth mindset.
Yeah.
Which is so phenomenal, from going from a factory job, which is just the cog in the wheel, to just now opening up your mind to the possibilities, and then just going and allowing yourself to fail as well. Like, what's your relationship like with failure?
Like fail, I don't see it as failure. I just see it as feedback.
Yeah.
There's no failure. There's no right or wrong. It's just feedback. It's just like, okay, that didn't work. What can you do to improve? It's just feedback. It's not like, oh, I failed, I'll give up. It's like, no, you just, okay, tomorrow's a new day. What are we going to do
And
today?
it's bad because you're not internalizing it. So you're not going, that didn't work, so I'm a bad person, I'm a failure.
No.
It's all like, well, that didn't work, so then how can I make it work?
Yeah.
Again.
And it's and like the language you use, like I've looked into the English language, and that like the English language is quite restrictive, and
It is.
And the words we use, and like it's spelling, like it's casting spells on yourself. Basically, it's like, it's like you look at like television, it's tell a vision. Someone else is telling you a vision.
Oh, I've never thought of it that way. I don't even own a television. I haven't heard the television in years.
And it's program, and you're watching programs. It's programming.
Yeah.
Your brain is like a computer. It's like,
and it's saying that you can use the same methodology to program yourself for good.
You program yourself.
Through visioning and through that, you can. You can use those same methods to reprogram yourself.
Reprogram yourself.
Yeah.
How you talk to yourself, and just changing the words that you're using. Instead of saying, "Oh, I've got challenges in my life," it's like, "Oh, here's an opportunity
for growth." Yeah.
So it's like, challenges are always going to come up.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is for your growth. I read a good book. I forget the author. It was called "The Obstacle Is the Way." So it's like if something comes up and you're feeling resistance to it and fear about it, that's where you lean in. It's like, okay, because Tara said, "Oh, I've met this lady. She wants to do a podcast. She wants you to be on it." And I was like, like I felt it inside. It's like, oh.
I love how she phrased that. She was like, would you like someone else? I'm like, yeah. She goes, I could recommend my partner. And I love how she's like, well, she'd like you on her podcast. The power of a woman.
Yeah. And she said,
phrasing.
And like I felt it inside. I felt the resistance, and it's like,
went for it.
Okay, that's where you got to go. Okay, that's gonna, and just being able to sit here and talk about my story. It's like, okay, I can internalize that and go, yeah, you've got a story and a path, and it resonates with people, and you can share it. So,
I have, because I'm highly intuitive. So, what I really sense from you is just a calmness, but a real. There's words called self-efficacy. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. So it's deeper than confidence. It's just a self-knowing that I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay. And I think that's really where we all want to get to, because when we feel we're not okay, we grab for things to try and make us okay.
Yeah.
But when you know that no matter what happens, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I really sense that from you. Is that how you feel? Am I sensing that right?
I was talking to a friend last night, and he's putting out a 12-week program to help men to, set up a morning routine. And I mean, I find that's really important, especially for men,
Yeah.
to have that morning routine and set the foundation for your day.
Okay.
And he's like, teach men how to have a morning routine and then look at their values and then look into their triggers and what's triggering them as well, and he was asking me if I wanted to be on it. I was like, well, when was the last time I got like something triggered me? It's like, well, if I'm creating my own reality, things shouldn't trigger me because they're there I've created it. Or, people get triggered by someone in the traffic. It's like, well, they just did whatever they did.
Yeah, it's you triggered. That's got nothing to do with that person.
So it's when something before in the past, something would trigger me and it would go on for days. Blah, 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 blah. And now something will trigger me and it's like, oh, I'm triggered. And it's like, okay, what
where's the invitation? What's in it?
Yeah, what is it within me that it's like, why did it trigger me?
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that because I was speaking to the same friend yesterday and I said to her, it was in an interview, and I was saying, there's one thing that I really keep triggering myself over is bad drivers.
Yeah.
Because I'm a very enthusiastic driver, right? So I like to drive. And then when there's two people driving less than a speed limit, but they're blocking both lanes and I can't get past.
Yep.
Every time I lose my shit, like internally I lose it.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, Petra, you losing your shit is not helping the situation right now. You're just getting yourself angry. But still, I must enjoy the fire of that situation.
Yeah.
Because every time I get myself really pissed off, and then finally I get past, and I'm like, oh, that's better.
And then you get to the traffic light.
And then they're behind you.
Yeah.
Isn't that the most annoying thing? And then, because I weave in and out. Anyway, I bring it up often. And I'm still working at letting that go because I'm like, I'm sure if I can let that go, my journey would be so much more pleasant.
Yeah. I'd experience the same thing, like in the traffic, and I'd start getting angry and annoyed. And it's like, why am I getting angry and annoyed? It's like, there's a pattern there that following.
Yeah.
It's like, why? And I'll try and unravel it and go back and see. And I remember driving with my father when I was younger, and he would drive 20 k's below the speed limit. And he'd have a line of people behind him,
Oh, it's a steal.
and he would go, oh, they can wait. And I was like, no, you're just blocking. You're just being you're just blocking it. And maybe that anger that I felt, was like when I was young and sitting in the car with him and feeling embarrassed about him holding everyone up. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's like. But just taking that responsibility for your own emotions and your thoughts. And like, well, I can't control the traffic in front of me. All I can control is how I feel. So take control of that.
I love that. Yeah, it's so true. So what's next for you now?
What's next for me now is I'm doing Vision Quest next month.
Yes.
So that's coming up. And
is that only for men or is that just for everyone?
Men and women.
Yeah, amazing.
So we've got that coming up next month. I've got breathwork and sound journeys that I do. Tara and I hold various ceremonies. We do sweat lodges at our place. So
it's funny because I experience claustrophobia. And even just going into a sauna, if the sauna doesn't have a window, I totally freak out. So just when you say, and when you were just saying, if something freaks you out, lean into that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, should I lean into the sweat lodge? Because just sitting in the dark in the heat totally freaks me out. Like when you said, oh, you think you're going to die, like my nervous system thinks it's going to die.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's a good idea for me to do it. What do you think?
It probably would be a good idea. Like if you're feeling, because you're going to get growth and better understanding of yourself. And Tara holds a beautiful, like she goes you through nervous system work, beforehand. And she takes care of you. If like no one's ever died. And You know?
I know, but I have been in situations where I've challenged myself and gone into, because I'm quite adventurous, and gone into like little caves where literally I thought I was going to die. Like, it's amazing how your nervous system just freaks out. Yeah. I'll let you guys know.
Tara holds a beautiful space, and you just feel safe in there.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can lie down on the ground, lie down, and it's cooler down there. And these practices, about being connected to nature and to the elements, and it's like, Mother Earth has got you. She's, you're safe there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So sound healings, breath work, anything else you've got going on? Or
I've got my affiliate marketing.
Yes.
I've actually got 3 of them I'm working on. So, that gets
We'll put the links in. If you send me the links, we can certainly put the links.
Yeah. So they're pretty interesting. And then I'm working on getting some men's groups together and doing some men's. I've got this idea I like going out hunting as well.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got access to a property out just west of the Blue Mountains.
Yeah.
I was like, this would be a great place to bring guys out for the weekend and just sit around a fire and show them, spend some time in the bush tracking animals and, sitting around a fire as men and just talking about, it's so powerful.
Yeah. I love that, and I really encourage you to do that. Yeah. Well, I'm vegetarian, so I'm not into popping animals, but certainly bringing people into the bush, and into community, I think is just, particularly men, is so valuable.
And get away from the phones and the family and the work, and just sit there and sit there around a fire, and most of the time I go hunting, I don't take any animals. I just go out there for the peace and quiet. Because if you're trying to track animals, you've got to be really quiet and really still.
Yeah.
So it's just going out and being in the bush, and it's just just let everything drop away and let the answers come in. And reground.
And as you said, and you'll learn more if it's your intuition or your ego. Eventually you just get a bit more practiced with that.
Let the chatter die away.
Let the chatter die away. Matthew, I have so enjoyed this discussion. I loved hearing about your journey.
Yeah.
I love how far you've come from really in such a short time.
Yeah.
And I love just how you constantly are just embracing the new things that keep coming up for you. And I think you are a wonderful example. And a non-rah-rah example of what's possible, because there's a lot of rah-rah people out there, which is totally fine. But I love that you're just this calm, everyday guy who's made the changes and is now really reaping and is now really living the life that he knows he can live and knows that he can create.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're all creators of our own reality. So we just got to remember that,
Yeah.
And learn how to.
And surround ourselves with the teachers and the community that will help us to remember that and facilitate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You, as you rise, all those around you will rise.
Yeah, and we all rise together.
That's it. Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Matthew, for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Yeah.